So in May of 1984, we moved from California to Fred Zirkle's ranch. That was in Rathdrum, Idaho. That was the nearest town. It was up a road called Sturgeon Road, and I think he had a bunch of properties all over. He had a cabin on a lake called Spirit Lake, and we would drive there, and we'd have to get in the boat, and I don't think you could drive to that. I think he also had a cabin on Lake Pend Oreille, which I never went to, but we started the school year. My sister and I started the school year in 1984, and for me it was a tiny little building that was only for the sixth grade, and it was a very small population. And pretty quickly after they married, my mother was expecting their first child together. So there were three of us: Candace, Vivi, and myself. And in May of 1985, they were expecting another child. And my mother went to the doctors in Spokane, and they did a sonogram, or an ultrasound, and they were able to see that something was very wrong with the baby. And she was urged by the medical professionals to that this baby would likely not make it, and that she should probably get an abortion right away. It was a condition called gastroschisis, in which there's a hole in the stomach, and all the intestines were forming outside in the uterus, and it was not likely. The chances were not good, and they were very, very religious, and there was no way they were going to, have an abortion. And so they were looking to see if there were any places that they could move to. And this is the story. I'm hearing the story. I'm telling the story as it was told to me. And so Primary Children's Hospital in Utah was, they went and met with the team, and they said that they think that they could deliver the baby alive, and that they apparently, and this is again like maybe family lore, but it was the first time anyone, this was the first baby that actually had been caught in an ultrasound, like on photo, with that much time. So they knew pre-delivery that there were complications, and they would need specialized medical care. And so I remember it was maybe, I don't know, it was winter, or it was fall or winter of 1984. And we were dressed up and went out to dinner in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And there was a restaurant called the Osprey. And it was at dinner while we were sitting there that it was announced we were going to move from Idaho. And I was devastated. I actually burst out and cried, sobbed at dinner, because we had moved, and I loved the area, and I didn't want to start a new school. And I can tell Fred was like very startled by it, and I think it might have embarrassed him, but I loved living there. So we moved over Christmas break to So I did half a year of sixth grade in Idaho, and then we moved to Salt Lake City, and I did the second half of the sixth grade year in at Wasatch Elementary in Salt Lake City. And we moved into, I don't know if it would be considered a mansion or not, I don't know. It was a very expensive house, and I think it had 9 fireplaces. I don't know, something ridiculous like that. And it was a beautiful house. The writing above the house said "Linger Longer," and it had been one of the original houses. It's on the corner of 3rd Ave in Virginia, and yeah, we moved in. I remember the first day of school, and it was not a great day. I'll come back and when this is turned around, I'm telling the story. I've read Zirkle at this point. So, during the time when they were courting, Fred and my mom, I would say, and we had different terms back then than I hear today. I mean, there's all these like attachment avoidance, or everybody's got different terms today. And what I would say at the time was that he was they were both type A. They were both they both were used to commanding attention when they walked in a room. They were both charming, and on first appearance, they were the life of the party. They were both over 6 feet tall. And when they got married in, like I said, it was Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was the old Hotel Utah. It's now the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, but it was in a huge room on one of the upper floors, and it was a huge banquet. My mother, she wore a black, it was a silk top that had like gold all over it. It was the 80s, so I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, think Donald Trump or something like that. But anyway, my mother had grown up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or Mormon, and then she had become inactive, and my whole life growing up in California, I wasn't, she did not believe in God. That's what she said. And in October 1983, and that's a different story, but I converted to the church, not being raised in it, but I don't know. That's a different story. But anyway, so he was a new convert. She was, recently joined the church again. And they both had spent most of their lives not really, living any kind of Mormon thing, and then suddenly were like thrust into one of the wealthiest areas in Utah for that time, and it was called the Federal Heights Ward. And in Spokane, actually it wasn't Spokane, sorry, in Rathdrum, Idaho, my Fred was, I think, no, he wouldn't have been the bishop, but he was on the bishopric, which in Rathdrum isn't saying a ton, but it is a leadership role. And there was a very large wealth gap between him and the other members. It was, I don't know it was a little embarrassing for me. Anyway, so when he moved to Salt Lake City, I am not 100% sure what he is doing for work. I know he was quickly called again into the bishopric. The bishop of the ward was David Checkett, and Fred was the second counselor. And the first counselor, his name was Theron Christiansen, and he was older, and yeah, he's gone now, but they ran in circles. They ran in circles that were Larry Miller and I can't think of the name. Okay.